What up, YouTube? This is Steven Talbert. This is TalbyReacts. So every single Tuesday, I come to you and bring you relevant topics I just kind of want to talk to you about. And so today, we had pretty much one of the biggest gaming events, which was Paris Games Week, and they had the Sony press conference. And today, I kind of really wanted to bring you kind of my thoughts about Sony VR. I'm going to make you about a two-part series probably. I'm going to do one about Sony PlayStation VR, and then the second one will probably be my overall thoughts. I expect that second video to probably come out pretty soon, probably within the week. And so I wanted to kind of give you my thoughts about PlayStation VR. And so, yeah. So, PlayStation VR. Pretty much, I want to kind of look at, first let's look at kind of the beginnings of PlayStation VR, or kind of since E3. And so, since E3, around E3, during E3, there was kind of during the press conference, there was about 2 minutes of PlayStation VR, which is actually pretty small. Like, honestly, before that conference, I almost thought there was going to be 10 minutes of PlayStation VR there, because honestly, what's been noted is PlayStation VR is supposedly coming out next year in the first quarter, and there's not a whole lot of big time information about it. And so, like, the biggest thing that came out of E3 during that time was the fact that Riggs, which is this big, nice esport game, which I'll kind of talk about during this press conference that just happened. Riggs is this game getting developed by Gorilla Campers, and that was pretty much the biggest announcement. Flash forward, they weren't at Gamescom, so they wasn't there, and then they were at TGIS and at the Tokyo Game Show. Pretty much what they basically said, they renamed PlayStation. They renamed it to PlayStation VR, so it's no longer Morpheus. It is now PlayStation VR. And so they really didn't talk about games again. And so this left now where we are now, which is the Paris Games Week. And so, yeah, so that's where we are right now. So to kind of go with that, I kind of want to give you kind of my thoughts about PlayStation VR and where it's headed. My thoughts are mixed. I think PlayStation VR probably has the biggest chance to have the most success really quickly out of the gate, to do really well. I think some people really like what Oculus is bringing and doing, and they like that it's fact it's hooked up with a computer. And actually, I'll tell you the truth, I feel a better vibe with PlayStation VR. That's kind of where I'm at, kind of with PlayStation VR. I trust PlayStation VR over Oculus. But I do think it could be where a lot of people agree with it. I've read a couple of gaming opinions about this. They believe that it possibly could be, they caution VR on PlayStation, because it could be like, if you look at Sony Move and the Kinect for the Xbox, there's been some really overpriced add-ons that just completely have failed. And so that is one question. If you look at Sony Move, an add-on they added on the PS3 wasn't really well supported, and because of that, we did not see much support. And so that's one factor to kind of look into PlayStation VR. And that's kind of where I'm at. And so, yeah. So my biggest question is, did this new press conference change it? I think, honestly, this was the most effective press conference that I've seen VR at for PlayStation. And so what was really cool was they showed, I think, four or five different games. And so, like, they showed all these games they kind of really talked about were all very new products. And so, like, for instance, they brought in the publisher, the third-party Cryotech, and they showed their new game, Robinson, which is basically this dinosaur game. You're a kid, you're trapped, you're crashed down on this distant land, and basically it's a planet full of dinosaurs, which is awesome. I love these type of games. And so you're basically, the demo shows you wading through these different dinosaurs, and then you finally see like this big Tyrannosaurus Rex like creature like yell at you and all that, and so it looks freaking awesome. I'm interested to see if that is only part of that, or it could be much more. The other big announcement with this Robinson game was that the fact that Until Dawn is coming to the PlayStation VR, which I think it's called Until Dawn something Blood, Brood of Blood or something like that, which is interesting. It's I don't think it's exactly the Until Dawn. Supposedly it's like this, you're on this roller coaster and it's basically you going through this set circuit and you basically have different spook fairs and you're shitting stuff. It sounds really weird. It's very, I think there's a strong possibility that it could be interesting. I trust Until Dawn because of what they did with this game. It's like most people love this game, the Until Dawn's, but it'll be interesting to see if it supposedly, it is one of these games where it uses the name, it could be a game that uses the name, but it truly doesn't live up to the standards of that game and so forth. So there's a lot of issues with that. The good thing is that team did develop it for VR. So my guess is when they were developing Until Dawn, they were also developing VR things, and this is one of the ideas that they just came across, and they said, why not just try it? And with the success of Until Dawn, why not use that name to promote VR? And so I think what's kind of cool is I think what I hopefully it is, it's like something you buy for $15 and you just have a really good fun time. Because who knows how expensive VR games will be, and so like a $15 game would be like, it would be really cool, like one of these real cheap platforms to get on top of your your possible $500 machine or a $300 machine. The one that kind of go with what I just said, the price really wasn't not talked about at Paris Games Week. A lot of people thought there was a possibility of that, but we've heard, but probably the biggest one of the announcers I was listening to kind of said, like, honestly, it will be at PSN, but probably the most likely will be at CES, Consumer Electronics Show, which would actually probably be the most sense. If you look at the history of Consumer Electronics Show, most recently they've been very much in cahoots with VR and kind of what it's doing and stuff like that. And so that would be a perfect place to kind of showcase PlayStation VR and kind of say, this is the price of this is where we're going with it, so on and so on. And supposedly it's supposed to come out in the first quarter of 2016 or kind of during 2016. So we'll see. Other interesting things, what I thought was the most impactful thing for PlayStation VR, and then what made me the most interested in VR, was the fact that they announced two big titles that were coming to PlayStation VR, and that is Tekken 7, the legendary fighting series that had been a part of PlayStation for years, is coming to PlayStation VR, and also Gran Turismo is also coming to Project VR. I was recently talking to my dad about like Gran Turismo coming to VR, and he said, that is almost the perfect scenario. Like, would you imagine having like the wheel, you in a driver cockpit, you seeing the windshield, you seeing all the different parts, and then you have a driving wheel. Like, people, like, if like the driving community, like, they will want to spend good quality money for like their peripherals, and so like I would definitely say like the driving community would be first to snatch onto VR, and so like, and they would want like that roll nice steering wheel and stuff like that. And so for Sony, it's a really good way to make a lot of the cash. But what I find most interesting is these are two solid games. These are two big time games. Like, these are two series. Gran Turismo has always done well. If you look at the PlayStation 3, like, honestly, all-time selling games, Gran Turismo is like #1 if I'm not mistaken. And then Tekken 7 has always done well, next to Street Fighter and Mortal Kombat. And so I could definitely see them doing really well with their game. And so which is great. So in conclusion, I think Sony pretty much did a great job. I think they definitely moved the bar for PlayStation VR. It really definitely impressed me. I'm definitely going to consider buying it. We'll see. Kind of guys, what are your thoughts about PlayStation VR? And just kind of, what do you believe in it? Do you not believe it? Just, I like to know. We'll love to hear. Guys, I just want to really thank you. Recently, I had 2 videos go over 70 views and 80, and one just hit 80. Just thank you for the love, and you're definitely appreciated. And thank you for watching this. And I hope you had a great day.